next ingredient. These are guarana seeds. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up on these. A lot of us know guarana because it's in a lot of the sort of convenience store energy drinks. Guarana is a real high source of xanthine molecules like caffeine. So this is a great way to add a little pep to the drink if that's something you want to do. I like to do that from time to time. I'm a fan of caffeine, so I'm going to add a few in there. That's kind of something, it's sort of like having a little bit of coffee, except you're working with a different plant, which I think is great. And I think when you work with xanthines, it's good just to cycle through different plants so you don't habituate yourself too much to any one of them. All right, next ingredient. Wild Maine blueberries. That's great. I live in New England and I like wild berries, and I like that you can get them in the supermarkets here, actually. They come frozen. So that's something you can usually get local, if not something you can harvest yourself and freeze. And I know that's something we do around here every year. I'm not very good at making them last through the winter, but I got friends who are good at that. So I'm going to add in, I guess I'll use my measurer here. You could substitute any berry into that, that's fine. Experiment and play. I'm just showing you what I've been putting together on the daily. This is stevia, green stevia. So stevia is found a few different ways now. Stevia is like a sweetener but a non-sugar. So it kind of tricks the mouth into thinking that you've tasted something sweet. It's an herb that grows, that we actually have grown here in New England. It's not from here, it's from South America. But it will grow here, and it tastes very sweet, and often it's extracted now and turned into white powders that are sort of like very refined versions of stevia. I like the ground herb green like this, and it doesn't take much. If you use too much, it tastes a bit like NutraSweet or Sweet and Low or an artificial sweetener, because it has that similar ability to trick your palate. So I go very light on it. I'm going to use about 1/3 of a teaspoon here. Just enough to add a little bit of sweet to the drink, because I'm not going to add any sweeteners into this. I personally have been avoiding sweeteners more and more in my life. I do use honey, I do use maple syrup, but really sparingly. And so I'm going to just show a drink like that. Normally when I make a drink for different videos, or if I make drinks when I'm doing talks, I'll add the sweetener because I know most people want that. Me personally, when I make things for myself, I don't use very much sweetener, and I usually use things like stevia. So I'm going to show you that, but know that you could add a sweetener to a drink like this if you wanted to add to it, make it more sweet, and add calories to it as well. Okay, so the two crowning ingredients for the whole thing: Sun Warrior protein and survival colostrum. These are the two, that's the meat of this thing. I've been training pretty heavily this winter, and my friend Nick at Sun Warrior has been sending me his biofermented rice protein. What they do is they basically use bacteria to ferment away all the carbohydrate from rice, and what they're left with is the pure protein portion of it. That's really cool. I grew up in the era of muscle and fitness weightlifting, and I used to be into that style of weightlifting back in the days of the protein drinks. And I got a little bit of that left over, and so I like making these drinks that have all that nutrition and enough protein to really support my workouts. So what I'm going to do is put about, that's a kind of a heaping 1/4 cup there. I'd say that's almost, let's put about 1/2 cup in there. And then the other ingredient will be colostrum, and that's from my company, Surthrival, at surthrival.com. I have created a package with Nick from Sun Warrior. He's a good friend of mine, and we realized how well these products fit together and how perfect they are synergistically in drinks. So we have a project together, and if you go to rawnatureboy.com, you'll see that the colostrum and Sun Warrior, and also my deer antler, are available in package deals with free shipping. So if you want to start making drinks like this and you want to have that extra protein and those extra growth factors that are found in colostrum, you can get that there. So the reason I use colostrum is because I really believe it's probably the most complete food in the world for mammals. In my search for superfoods around the world, I haven't seen anything more powerful than colostrum. Colostrum does magical things. Like, for instance, colostrum can regrow your thymus gland. That's your master communicator to the immune system. and it's very large when we're children, and it's almost gone by the time we're adults, but you can regrow that with colostrum. Colostrum is extremely rich in growth factors, which help us to put on lean body mass. So anyway, it's a very powerful food, and combining it with the Sun Warrior is a really cool way of getting the kind of thing people go to places like GNC for, right? They go there because they want these drinks, these superfood drinks that are going to help them put on body mass. Most of them don't really work. So Nick and I have been trying to figure out how can we make a drink mix that will actually cause those effects, that actually cause your body to regenerate itself and to grow itself without bogging itself down with sort of toxic material. So that's what this is about. That's just about ready. What I'm going to do is blend it up and give it a taste. Alright, so that's done blending. And while that camera was off, I had a little taste, so I know it's good. Really basic kind of recipe. It might have looked like a lot of ingredients, but it's just random stuff out of my kitchen, really, to be honest with you. Again, if you wanted to sweeten it more, you could. The really important ingredients here for me are the Chaga, which is a wild crafted medicine from my environment. If you don't live in an environment where you can get Chaga, you can find it at surthrival.com. It's SURTHRIVAL, like surviving except with thriving. We do have a really great wild Chaga supplement available there. But wild Chaga, eggs, and butter from my environment, that means I've got all those fat-soluble vitamins from the animals who've been eating the grass and who are out in the sun getting their vitamin D. Also, the Sun Warrior and colostrum together as a real bodybuilding mix, those things to help us really add on lean body mass, keep our metabolisms really high. All that blended together into this gives me a drink that will last me for several hours today without me having to eat. And that way I don't really have to start eating heavier food till later in the day. That's how I like to start my mornings after I've had my workouts. You give that a try and let me know if it works for you.